What do you get with John Woo directing his first American film, Van Damme starring in it along with Lance Henriksen as the villain, chewing the scenery in all of its glory, and Van Damme punching a snake in the face? A kick-ass good time. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And the movie I'm talking about, John Woo's first American film, Hard Target. This movie was released August of 1993, rated R. It's about an hour and 40 minutes long. Had a budget of $18 million, and upon release, it grossed $32.5 million in America and $74.1 million worldwide. And John Woo was just coming off a Hard Boiled in Hong Kong. He was a Hong Kong action director for years, and the studio heads wanted to work with John Woo for a long time. So he came over, and the first script he was actually offered was Face Off. He actually turned Face Off down. Now, as we all know, if you're an action movie fan, John Woo directed Face Off 4 years later with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I love that film as well. I'll do a review for that right on down the line. At some point, I'll do that. And originally, John Woo signed on to do Hard Target, make this his first American film. Now, at first, they were going to hire Kurt Russell in the lead as Chance Boudreaux. Kurt Russell was tied up with other projects. They would have had to wait on Kurt Russell. Universal wanted to do another picture with Van Damme because they had success 2 years earlier with Lionheart, which I'm going to do a double team review here. I'm doing Hard Target and Lionheart. I already filmed Lionheart. I don't know which one's going to come out first. It depends which one I get edited first. So they brought Van Damme in because Van Damme had met John Woo a year earlier when he was filming Double Impact, and he wanted to work with John Woo. John Woo wanted to work with Van Damme, so it was a match made in heaven, and Van Damme came in to play Chance Boudreaux. Now, for the villain roles, they brought in Lance Henriksen as Emile Fouchon, and the other main villain, who is Lance Henriksen's character's right-hand man, is Arnold Vosloo as Pike. And these two together are fantastic. They could have made a movie with just these two gentlemen, and it would have been fascinating. These guys do great as the villains in this movie. Yancy Butler is in this movie as Nat. She is the catalyst for why things go down the way they go down. Ted Raimi makes an appearance in this film, but he makes an appearance in almost all of his brother's films because Sam Raimi produced this film with his producing partner, Rob Tappert. And also, you got Wilford Brimley in this film as a small role as Bordeaux's uncle. He doesn't come into play till the end of the film. It's like the last act. And pretty much, this movie is another film loosely based on The Most Dangerous Game. I discussed that a few weeks ago with Surviving the Game, and I just discussed it again last week with The Hunt. And here's another film I'm doing that is loosely based on The Most Dangerous Game. At the beginning of the film, we see this guy running. And these people are hunting him. We don't know why. All we know is, as he's getting away from them, Lance Henriksen's character makes the comment, we can't allow him to get to the river. And they do kill him before he gets to wherever he had to get to on the river. And that starts our film. And then we're introduced to Van Damme, and he's eating in his cafe. And then we're introduced to Yancy Butler's character, Nat. Now, she's looking for her father, whom she doesn't know yet was a gentleman who was killed in the beginning of the film. And she doesn't know where he is. She hasn't seen him in years. She goes to the halfway house where he was living, and she's informed that he's been living on the streets for quite some time. So she goes checking around. She meets this other gentleman who knew her father, but says, I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, so I don't know. But if I see him, I'll let you know. And she goes to this cafe where Van Damme is, and she flashes some money, not on purpose. This girl, you could tell, this woman doesn't know, she doesn't know that it's New Orleans. She's not familiar with the city. And Van Damme notices these guys watching her because she had money, and he follows them out, and these guys jump her, and we get our first John Woo American action sequence, and it's spectacular. You can say what you will about John Woo's style of shooting. I know it's been overplayed a lot, and people kind of made fun of it. I always appreciate it because you could see everything in a John Woo action movie. Every move, the slow-mo is smooth, it's very balletic. It always was, and I know it became a little bit cliche, but I've always appreciated John Woo's style of action directing. And then from here on out, Van Damme's character, I'm skipping over a few things, teams up with Nat to help find her father. And they soon discover that Fouchon and Pike have been hiring homeless people that used to be vets, because her dad was a Vietnam vet, they'd offer them $10,000 in a belt, and if they can make it to a certain point in the city, they get to keep the money. What they were really doing is they were selling off hunts to these rich people that want to hunt human beings, and they facilitate that. They've done it all over the world. Now they're in New Orleans. And when Fouchon finds out that Boudreaux and Nat know what's going on, he sends his goons out to try to kill him. And that's pretty much, once the halfway point of the movie starts, it's pretty much action scene after action scene after action scene till the end. And it's all spectacular. It's over the top in some ways, but it's spectacular, and it's hard R, and it kicks ass. The last action set piece, that's pretty much the last 10-15 minutes of the film, takes place in a warehouse out in the bayou where they put floats from Mardi Gras. They call it the Mardi Gras graveyard. And this scene's so over the top, but it's awesome. And Van Damme's great, and Hendrickson's great, Voslow's great, Yancey Butler's great. And in this scene, this is trivia that I thought was fascinating. There's a part in the movie, and I didn't know this was by accident, where Lance Hendrickson's character's overcoat catches on fire. And he continues to talk, and he throws the coat down. He takes it off and throws it down. Well, here that was an accident on set. With all the effects going off, Lance Hendrickson's coat caught on fire. And he stayed in character and continued to act that scene out. And he discarded the coat and continued with the scene, and they kept it in the final cut. I thought that was a pretty cool piece of trivia. Now, Sam Raimi's involvement was, Universal was scared because John Woo's comprehensive of English was low. He wasn't a good English speaker at that time. And they were worried that, even though they wanted to hire John Woo and they wanted to work with him, they were worried that the production would go off the rails. So they hired Sam Raimi to keep the production on point, and if John Woo was failing as director, he would step in and direct the film. That never happened, and Sam Raimi never wanted it to happen. He said, I respected John Woo, and he was doing great things on set. I was never going to step in and direct anything. So that was kind of fascinating too. But is this movie any good? It's a great time. It's a great action. It's a great fun action film. It's hard R. The action scenes, you could tell what's going on, and I always appreciate that about John Woo's action scenes. I would give this film an 8.5 out of 10. I've always enjoyed it since I saw it back in '93. Have you ever seen Hard Target? I just gave it 8.5 out of 10. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. All that great stuff. Share this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. You all take care of yourselves out there, and I'll be back soon with another review. Thanks. Bye.